Welcome back, everybody. Derek Sue, your East Oakland advocate. Well, this is Memorial Weekend, the weekend that we remember our veterans, our family members who have served this country and may have sacrificed everything. I myself, I come from a very long line of soldiers. My grandfather. He didn't serve, but my dad served in um, the Korean War. I have my mother was born in the 20s, and her brothers right around the same time. So they were just getting to the age of drafting at World War II. In fact, my uncle Jim, who was the youngest of the three siblings, Bob was the oldest, my mother was the middle child, and then we had Jim. And Jim, he was actually 17 when he enlisted and went into the military, the Army. And by the time they found out he was underage, he was already near the front lines. And so what they did because he was underage and a minor, they couldn't send him back. And what they ended up doing was putting him on morgue duty. And this is another trauma of war, because those that go off to war never come back the same. They're a very different and changed person. My dad talked about the horrors of war in Korea when he was in the Korean conflict. He was because of his religion, he was Buddhist, and so he and then also during his boot camp, they found out he can't shoot worth a darn. He couldn't hit the broadside of a barn with a rifle at 100 yards. So anyway, uh, Dad became a cook. In fact, he was pastry chef, is what his duty was. But he still got a Purple Heart because he was shot in action on the next to the last day of his service. Uh, there was a guerrilla attack on the kitchen of his platoon. He was shot in the butt. Yeah, he got the Forrest Gump $1 million wound. So, and Dad even kept the bullet. I remember seeing this bullet in this container that he brought back, and he saved that as a memento because even though his service was up, he because of his injury he stayed in the military for an additional year. Because of that injury, because he had to be flown back stateside. He had to be going to the VA, to the hospitals to have this wound taken care of. And so, anyway, he served. He got the Purple Heart for being shot in the rear end. Um, Uncle Jim, he wasn't injured, but he was just devastated mentally. Like my mother said, when he came back, he was never the same after that. Uh, a 17-year-old being on morgue duty, picking up body parts, pieces, and trying to identify that's got to be a horrific, mentally traumatizing position to be in. And a lot of my uncles were either in World War II, the Korean conflict, or both. And then I had my half brother, my mother's first son from her first husband, and my brother Creighton. He served in the Army. He was a tank commander in the Army, when he had served 8 years in the Army, and then he took his VA and got his doctorate from the University of Colorado in forestry, and that's what led him to a position with United States contractor, defense contractor Martin Marietta, and my brother was one of the architects of our current GPS system as we know it today. In fact, when he transferred over to NASA, his position was for the maintenance of those satellites that we have in orbit for GPS, and that uh, NOAA, NOAA, National Oceanic Atmosphere. Uh, well, anyway, NOAA. Memory's kind of having a little issue here today, but that comes with age, unfortunately. And then, myself, while I didn't serve in the traditional military sense, I did serve alongside our military as a counter-terrorist specialist. And so while I do not have the same uh, paperwork and everything as a typical soldier, mine was very different because I went through special operations, and my stuff was very, very highly classified, top secret stuff. And so for my work, I it would have been deadly for me to have a military background to do what I was doing in the event that the enemy, the terrorists that I was pursuing or that I was investigating, found out who I was. I would be executed immediately. And we know that that happens because that's what was happening prior to this. And they were sending in the wrong type of people into these situations, and then they'd end up getting killed. And so once they changed the way that they did things, and had people to look more like the area, that's when things started turning around in our counterterrorism situation, whereas we were having, these gung-ho Caucasian guys who thought they could boss these people around, and it didn't work out for them because lot of them got killed. They were executed on the spot because they were found out as to what they were, and that's how the nature of the work goes about it. And so the less information that is documented on a person, the better for them for counterterrorism work. And so that's what I did for 20 years. I don't get recognized for it, and I never wanted that because that's the way I signed up for it. And there are many of our patriots that serve like myself, not being recognized, but we quietly go about our business. And then we have the regular persons like my father, like my brother, who openly served in our armed military and saw action. And so we want to remember them today and give them thanks, because if it wasn't for all of the sacrifices of these great men and women of the past, we would not have the lifestyle we have today in America. Once again, happy Memorial Day, and I hope you do remember someone in your family that has served and may have paid the ultimate sacrifice for you. Thanks for joining me today. We'll be right back.